Hello and welcome to the final drive on DMVSTREAM.COM. I'm your host, Jeremy Huber, and we think we've got what is really going to be a fun show to do for all the high school football fans out in the District, Maryland, and Virginia areas. Really just pleased as punch, to use an old, tired expression, but to be able to bring this show to you and really bring some good guests and hopefully some good players and all the movers and shakers in the DC metro area when it comes to high school football. Always a bit of an underserved market, I've always thought over the years, and I think we really hope to continue the tradition that we've started at DMVSTREAM.COM to go ahead and bring you the best when it comes to high school sports, and this is just one of the new avenues we hope to do that in. Again, I'm your host, Jeremy Huber, be with you all the way through the end of the regular season, maybe in the playoffs just a bit as well, but we'll be bringing you, like we said, get you scores every night. We'll have them all one place. This is the place to come. You can check us out on your tablet, on your computer, on your laptop, on your phone as well. So if you're coming back from a game, you can tune us in and maybe hook it into your stereo if you want and go ahead and listen to it on the ride home after a big game and see what else the other teams did. Get some interviews from around the area. Not just we'll check in with coaches, we check in with players. We also look to check in with the writers and the broadcasters that cover the games. Of course, on DMV Stream we do some games. Other sites do as well. Of course, there's fine writers from all over, and we like to check in with those as well. Got a really great show for you today. We'll run the guests down in just a second, but want to let you know that this is an interactive show. If you'd like to go ahead and interact with the show, be it give your what you thought about a game tonight, if you want to go ahead and talk about give us a score that we may have missed, anything, give us some comments on the show, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, pass it along. Again, the way to get to us is on Twitter at DMVStream.com. That's DMVStream. It's at DMVStream, not at DMVStream.com. It's at DMVStream. And if you want to go ahead and make sure that you go ahead and let us know exactly what the deal is, you go ahead and hashtag that with DMV Final Drive. That's hashtag DMV Final Drive. We'll definitely get you, let your opinions be known if you go ahead and get it to us that way via Twitter. Want to run that guest list down. We're going to hear from tonight a host of really good coaches. We will hear from the defending 4A Maryland State champions, their head coach, Northwest Jaguars, Mike Neubesier. Also, we'll check in with the head coach of the Battlefield Bobcats, another state champion, Mark Cox. Also, Robinson Rams head coach, Scott Vossler. He's the new guy at Robinson, but obviously trying to keep the tradition up there. Also, check in with a player today. Big day for Brady Reitzel, the quarterback of Broad Run, the Spartans in the top 10 in the All-Met Sports top 20, that is, and we'll go ahead and hear from him as well. Also, we're scheduled to check in with DMV Stream play-by-play announcer Brian Wright. He was out tonight watching Lake Braddock in their matchup. Of course, they look really good tonight as well, so we'll get some thoughts on what he saw out there and also talk a bit about what's going on in regards to our play-by-play you can hear every week on DMVStream.com. With that, let's go ahead and run down the scoreboard early on. We'll get into some of these scores. We'll get them out to you once or twice a show at least, maybe more depending on how things are going. Want to quickly run down the games from yesterday. Were a lot of games yesterday. I believe 6 in total, and we'll get you those right now. Edison beat Mount Vernon last night 26-6 to go ahead and get their season off on the right foot. Moses Kamara, 166 yards rushing and 2 TDs for the Eagles in that one. Number 10, Patriot, knocked off Forest Park, 55-49 in overtime. Jake Caparella, their running back, 215 yards and 5 TDs, though left the game with cramps, was replaced by sophomore J.B. Thompson, who ran for 50 yards and the game-winning touchdown in the matchup. Forest Park's Nathan Perrin had 408 yards passing and 6 TDs. Also, last night, Hilton beat Osborne 50-0. Ricky Slade, the big night for Hilton, 148 yards on 15 carries, had 2 TDs. Stonewall Jackson topped Potomac 17-7. Reggie Floyd with a game-winning touchdown run with 3:12 left in the game. Battlefield beat Woodbridge 49-19. Matt Gallagher threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for 2 more. Robinson beat Lee last night 31-6. Of course, to the games today, there were a few games in the afternoon, a lot of games at night. Of course, remember, Maryland not yet playing. They will start their season off next week. The Virginia schools, most of them getting out of the way. Some of the northern region schools did not. Also, D.C., a lot of their schools got going. The private schools as well, the WCACs and the like. A lot of those guys got going, though not all playing in the D.C. area. Some going far to travel to play their games. Kick it off, St. Mary's Riken. They were a winner 35-0 over Severn. Michael Jackson had 3 TDs for St. Mary's Riken in that one. Landon a winner over Annapolis Area Christian 43-7. Georgetown Prep, they nipped Fork Union 27-26. Fuma muffed a punt. It turned into a Georgetown Prep field goal with 4:05 left in the game. That was their first lead of the day, and the Little Hoyas go ahead and get the win there by 1 over Fork Union. Avalon a winner. They beat Potomac School 33-0. DeMatha falls to Archbishop Wood of Pennsylvania 34-13. Good Counsel a winner over Wilson 49-13. Andres Castillo 5 of 5 for 3 touchdowns, so an efficient night for him under center. O'Connell, they were a winner over Paul VI 56-14. The Knights with the big win to start things off. Bishop Ireton, last check, they were leading Parkview big in their matchup. No final in from them. Of course, if you're an Ireton fan, a Parkview fan, go ahead and hit us up. Let us know exactly what happened, the score. Remember, at DMV Stream, hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. Gonzaga, a big winner tonight before their matchup with Centerville next week. They beat Neshaminy of Pennsylvania 42-3. St. John's, a winner over IMG Academy of Florida. That one 35-2 in favor of the Cadets. Phelps with a win over Kip 33-0. Morgantown of West Virginia, they knocked off Anacostia 41-0. Coolidge, a winner over Paul PCS. That one 38-6 in favor of the Colts. Roosevelt, they traveled. They went to the Buckeye State and got drilled by Glen Oak 55-8. Martinsburg of West Virginia, they beat H.D. Woodson 24-7, though, pretty good output there by Woodson. Of course, they were again looking to go ahead and to win the DCIA, so maybe not as bad of a start. That long trip out to Martinsburg and a really powerful program. They've had a run of state championships out there for Martinsburg, so Woodson probably acquitted themselves pretty well out there tonight. A couple other scores you have to report: Cardozo National Christian, Perry Street Prep, and Ballou. You got those. Send it along to us at DMV Stream and also at the hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. Other scores: Broad Run over Booker T. Washington of Richmond 53-9. Brady Reitzel of the Spartans had a big day to start things off. 5 touchdowns, 3 passing, 2 running in that one. Briar Woods, a winner over Brook Point 38-13. Potomac Falls, they beat Dominion 10-6. That one an interesting game as Potomac Falls stopped Clemson commit Chad Smith, who's more a linebacker but does play some running back for the Titans. Stopped him inches short on a 4th down inside their own 5-yard line. Potomac Falls got the ball back, believe on the 3, and able to go ahead and run out the clock and go ahead and get the victory. Palladia winner over John Carroll 3-0. That one came on a game-winning 32-yard field goal in the final 2 minutes of the game, the only score of the matchup. Tuscarora of Virginia, they beat Kettle Run 40-7. That one for the Huskies, their first game since the tragic offseason loss of their assistant coach, Adam Fortune, passed away. And obviously they're looking to go ahead and see what they can do and hopefully win one state championship for their coach, their passed away coach. And Tuscarora, a team that maybe a little bit underrated. A lot of the Virginia schools in the 5A, a lot of love for Broad Run, Stonebridge, Briar Woods, all those. But Tuscarora really kind of pointing to this year. This may be their year, they think at least, and we'll see what they're able to go ahead and do. Quantico beat Massanutten Military Academy 20-12. It was Oakton over W.T. Woodson 25-22 in overtime. Nick Delgado, he had 5 field goals for the Cougars, including the game winner. Lake Braddock, a winner over West Potomac 30-6. We'll go ahead and check in with Brian Wright in just a bit about that contest. He was there on the scene watching the Bruins, again, another high-ranked team, seeing what they can do. South County, a winner over West Springfield 42-13. Woodgrove demolished Freedom of South Riding 62-0. Of course, Woodgrove looking to make a run this year in 4A in Virginia. Loudoun County went over Fauquier 33-0. Tay Cruz Naylor had 3 touchdown tosses all to Antonio Jackson. Jackson also had the Raiders' other score with he had a kickoff return for a touchdown. Freedom of Prince William shut out Osborne Park 31-0. Madison over South Lakes 33-22. It was Heritage over James Wood 24-12. Liberty beat Hanley 35-0. Champ with a nice win. They're in 3A in Virginia. 2-8 last year, didn't make the playoffs. That was their first year, but they may be on their way. They beat Central Woodstock, usually a powerhouse when it comes to those smaller schools in Virginia, 35-10 for the Knights of Champ. So they got off to a great start. And really, maybe one of the stories of the night, Brentsville with their first win since 2010, breaking a streak of 0-39. They knock off rival Manassas Park 12-7 in their matchup. And that's our look at our scores. Remember, if you heard one that we didn't have, go ahead and let us know at DMV Stream and hashtag it with DMV Final Drive. That's hashtag DMV Final Drive to go ahead and let us know what you're thinking. We'll brag a bit about the game. Let us know what you saw out there tonight. We would love to go ahead and hear it. Well, we're going to take our first break on the Final Drive, and we'll be back after this. Believe we'll be hooking up with Brian Wright, who was out at watching Lake Braddock tonight as they took on West Potomac. Come back right after this.
So part of the new technology that we've been rolling out here at Synthesis is live streaming. We'll go on site. We'll actually set up our cameras, we'll set up a feed, and we'll beam that to our clients. One of their clients being WashingtonPost.com, one of our more recent projects. We actually live streamed a high school football player's decision as to where he was going to go play college football. We went early, we did a dry run, we did a walkthrough, we hooked up to their internet, we created the stream, and we pumped that to back at WashingtonPost.com, where they broadcast that signal to thousands of people that were interested in watching that content. It was a very successful first few steps into live programming for major media organizations. We'll continue exploring it as we are now going out and doing live high school sporting events, college sporting events. We're also doing stuff for some of our private clients over at universities, streaming, lectures, all kinds of stuff that this new live programming technology will allow us to continue to make new steps in the multimedia world. So part of the new technology that we've been rolling out here at Synthesis is live.
DMVSTREAM.COM. We'll stream your verbal commitment live to our audience, viewable on computers, televisions, and mobile devices. Stream your college commitment live to the world. Let us know when and where you'll make the biggest choice of your athletic career, and we'll dispatch a producer. We'll handle all the technical, putting you in front and center under the brightest lights on your biggest day. You can blast your biggest moments to all your friends and family, as well as Facebook and Twitter followers. They can watch you make this choice live. Interested in having us stream your commitment? Fill out the form below and let us know how we can get involved. Remember, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit us on the web at DMVStream.com. At DM.
And welcome back into the Final Drive. I'm your host, Jeremy Huber, as we take you through the night in the football, high school football in the DMV district, Maryland and Virginia. Get you up to date on all of it, all the information that we have. Big night for Lake Braddock as they got going. Lake Braddock ranked in the All-Met Sports Top 20. A nice win for them tonight against West Potomac. The Bruins winning that one 30-6. Our Brian Wright was out on the scene, and Brian joining us right now. Brian, how's it going tonight?
Oh, not too bad. How are you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing great. You were out there, you're an announcer looking for a game tonight, but you ended up going out there to check this one out. What'd you see from the Bruins? How did they look to you tonight?
Shaking off the rust. Neither team played particularly sharp, and as assessed by both coaches. Lake Braddock head coach Jim Poitras was kind of in his post-game talk was noted how sloppy the game was, especially on Lake Braddock's end. So they left a lot of good plays on the field, but you saw flashes of what they're capable of. Dejon Lee, highly touted running back. Was kind of held in check for a little bit, had a 14-yard run in the second quarter, and then had a big run, a 60-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter. Kyle Edwards' first start ever in high school, taking the place of the graduated Caleb Henderson. He had some nice throws, and according to Poitras, was the victim of some drop passes by the receivers, but used his feet as well, had 2 runs in the second half, and that's really when Lake Braddock broke the game open.
Did he look comfortable to you? That's always the thing when you look at those young quarterbacks. Sometimes they're just not ready. They don't look Did he look comfortable in the pocket? Did he look like a guy who was wasn't sure of himself? Did he kind of look sure like he's going to be ready to kind of fill in and do a good job at this?
He did. I thought he did. And like I said, Poitras was impressed with his poise. He did well. Just the drop passes kind of made his statistics not look as well. But he ran like I said, he ran the ball well. And I don't think that was totally out of, scrambling. I think it was sometimes design. And he had a nice block. He got a nice block for the second touchdown run, which was about about 30 yards out in the third period, or it was definitely in the second half. But overall in the pocket, as far as passing is concerned, he seemed sharp. And, if the receivers kind of, get off the routes well and be able to hold on the passes, he'll have a nice season.
Talking to DMV Stream announcer Brian Wright here on the final drive. And Brian, I guess when you hold a team to 6 points, obviously the defense is doing something good. Any standouts that were kind of out there in front for the Bruins tonight, able to hold down the West Potomac attack?
I think the team collectively did a very good job. West Potomac, I think they, as their first-year head coach Jeremiah Ross stated, they shot themselves in the foot several times. They had they actually were holding off Lake Braddock, switching sides. They were holding off Lake Braddock for the most part, and they had a big offside penalty on 4th down, led to Lake Braddock's first touchdown. But as far as West Potomac on offense, they couldn't establish anything. I think it was more of West Potomac not, getting going on offense. They flipped their quarterback back and forth. It was, started with senior quarterback Preston Jones, and Ross took him out, went to Mark Ellis, lefty. They flipped back and forth. Ellis got the final points of the game with a 20-yard touchdown pass late in the game. That happened to be the final score of the game. But overall, Lake Braddock played well, but it was more the doing of West Potomac not executing.
Now, I went to the game today. Broad Run played against Booker T. Washington of Richmond, that is, and it seemed just like a sloppy game. We came a lot of penalties, a lot of things called. Game went 3 hours, which I was very pleased about. Your game, how was it? Was it crisp? Was it kind of? You said that West Potomac was sloppy. Did it seem like it was over officiated? Did it seem like it was kind of at a good pace?
It wasn't an NFL preseason game, let's put it that way. There were penalties, but there weren't that many.
Gotcha.
West Potomac, I think, had 9 in the first half. I heard Jeremiah Ross shouting to the refs, "Keep the flags in your pockets." You could tell he was upset about that. But for the most part, I didn't see anything where the officials were taking control of the game. I think it was just the first game, poor execution. You got young kids, high school kids. They're going to make mistakes, and especially in the first game of the season.
Now, Brian, we mentioned it a little bit in the open, the fact that you were going to be out doing a game. You're going to be doing some games on DMVSTREAM.com the rest of the year. Tell the folks at home about what you're going to be doing.
Well, this is my first year with DMV Stream, and very happy to be a part of it. Going to be doing radio calls or audio calls on DMVSTREAM.com. You can go on the site, of course, just as you're listening to Jeremy. And, I'll be doing games mostly in the Northern Virginia area, maybe doing some D.C. games, but certainly going to, put my own spin on broadcasting the game. Obviously going to have a lot of fun and try to bring some insight as well.
You got any, is our boss, BJ, giving you an area that he wants you to concentrate on? You're going to be kind of moving all over.
I think personally I'm going to be concentrating on the Northern Virginia and D.C., some D.C. schools. I'd be doing Westfield next week, and I haven't established that yet. Obviously, it depends on what schools have the internet access. That's kind of a struggle. But hopefully, the ones that do, I'm certainly willing to go out there, and the ones that are nearby and do a good job.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been there before using a wireless card in some of the wilds of West Virginia. That's always a fun thing. So hopefully you'll have something nice when it comes to internet access so you can do a good job, as I know you will, as long as the equipment's working.
Yes, I short story. I went to North Carolina to cover Virginia Tech North Carolina game, and the internet at Keene Stadium went in and out. I was trying live blog for the Virginia Tech student newspaper, and couldn't establish any internet access, and I thought this was kind of a one-time thing, but it's all over the place. When you got a football press box outdoors, it's kind of not really first priority to establish internet access. So, the technology's coming around. We'll get it eventually.
That sounds good. Brian Wright, DMV Stream announcer, was out tonight at Lake Braddock, knocked off West Potomac. Brian, thank you so much for joining us today on the premiere edition of the Final Drive.
I'm glad to be on the pilot episode of this broadcast, and like we talked about earlier, I heard you doing the updates for SiriusXM about 6 a.m., and now you're doing this, so I hope you get a good night's sleep. We've been working hard, and it's good to hear you. I better, because I'm calling a Georgetown football game in the morning and more updates tomorrow night. I got to find some time to sleep. I feel like I've had a kid. Yes, just as long as you can see the field and be able to speak coherently. That's all we care about. We hope so. Brian, thank you so much, man. All right, thanks, Jeremy. Again, that was Brian Wright. He's going to be calling games on DMVSTREAM.com all year long. Get you an update if you want to go ahead and listen to some games you can't make it to. He'll be your guy doing some of those matchups. Coming up, we'll go ahead and check in with Broad Run quarterback Brady Reitzel. Had a big day today in the Spartans' win over Booker T. Washington. We'll do that right after this here on The Final Drive.
DMVSTREAM.COM. We'll stream your verbal commitment live to our audience, viewable on computers, televisions, and mobile devices. Stream your college commitment live to the world. Let us know when and where you'll make the biggest choice of your athletic career, and we'll dispatch a producer. We'll handle all the technical, putting you in front and center under the brightest lights on your biggest day. You can blast your biggest moments to all your friends and family, as well as Facebook and Twitter followers. They can watch you make this choice live. Interested in having us stream your commitment? Fill out the form below and let us know how we can get involved. Remember, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit us on the web at DMVStream.com.
Welcome back to The Final Drive. I'm Jeremy Huber as we take you down all the action from the day in District, Maryland, and Virginia high school football. The opening day really actually was yesterday as they got going, but it really started in earnest tonight as a bunch of games were played, a lot of them in the Virginia area, also some in D.C., Maryland really getting going next week. We mentioned getting things going in Virginia. One of the schools over there to look out for, it's the Broad Run Spartans. They went ahead and won today over Booker T. Washington, 53-9. They're in the top, I believe, the top 10 of the All-Met Sports top 20. Of course, they're in the same town, Ashburn, Virginia, where the Redskins train, also where Briarwood, Stonebridge High School, 2 state championship caliber programs. Broad Run's won a few as well. They're looking maybe to do it again after finishing their season strong as they beat Stonebridge last year. Also came down to the wire with the eventual state runner-up Briarwoods. Really secret to the Spartans' success, their quarterback Brady Reitzel, not the biggest guy in the world, but fleet of foot, can definitely do the job. Had 5 touchdowns today in the Spartans' win, and I was able to catch up with him after the Spartans' victory today in Ashburn. Brady, just another day at the office for you. 5 touchdowns, 3 passes, 2 runs by my count. You ever have a 5-touchdown game before?
I mean, not in high school, but definitely in Little League. I had probably more than 5 touchdowns in one game. But that was a great way to start off the season. Everybody played well. We had a lot of penalties, though. We got to fix that up. And a lot of people shined today that I didn't think would shine.
Looking at today, what were you guys able to do to kind of get you and to get so many good chances to score? Obviously, they've got an athletic team on the side, Booker T, but you guys were able to get some good chances to get guys open. Is that what it was, getting guys in space?
Yeah, I thought that we outcoached them. They were definitely athletic, and we're both athletic too. They were definitely bigger than us, so we had to play bigger. And we just had to pick the right call that would stop them against their defense. They put 9 in the box sometimes. So then we got to throw the ball when they put 9 in the box, or I got to run for my life. But that's what I love doing.
Now, is that something, a lot of offenses, it kind of, everything's called from the sideline sometimes on the field. Do you, as a senior, do you have kind of to make those checks, or is that coming from Coach Griffiths on the sideline?
Well, today he let me check one play, but I wish he would let me, check a whole drive when we're winning by a lot, you know what I mean, just have some fun. But no, he does all the calls. And the guys up top, give him the formations on what the defense is doing, and then we make a call off that.
Now, speaking of Coach, I was telling you a little bit before we started that when I was doing games out here, Coach Griffith's first year over here, and it was that strict single-wing offense. What you guys are doing isn't a strict single-wing. What exactly are you guys doing, and do you think that really fits to your skill set?
Yeah, we're running the read option, not a spread, and trips and run a little empty just when we want to throw the ball. He changed the offense because that's like more of a quarterback that I am, and I benefit more in it. And I'm not like single wing's more for like bigger guys and like not so much a quarterback. And the read option allows me to run the ball and throw the ball at the same time, which is hard for the defense to defend.
Now, is that something this year, kind of going to the read option? It should be the read option, the spread stuff. Is it obviously it fits your skill set. Did you? It something kind of puts a smile on your face to kind of be able to go ahead and do that. Really, all your different. As it's almost like I'm watching you. It's almost that little bit of a Johnny Manziel, Doug Flutie type stuff, where you're just kind of a magician back there, seeming to get out of some situations that you shouldn't get out of.
Yeah, he just puts me like a quarterback, and then I got to make the play. Like I got to make the read. He goes in, I got to pull it. He goes out, I give it to him. So if I'm giving it to the running back, he's got to make a play. So he's just putting the ball with the players that need to make the plays, and therefore we're going to make the plays. Now,
obviously you guys are a team you picked very high in the Washington Post poll. I think partially off of the end of the last season where you knocked off Stonebridge, you gave Briarwoods all they could handle. Is that the goal for this team to go ahead and do that again, to say, hey, we've got a team again that can compete for a state championship here?
Yeah, we need to get a little farther than we did last year, I would say. So that's always the goal. State championship is the goal for every team in the whole United States. They want to win states. Everybody wants to win states, but we got to really put our minds to it and actually get there, and then you got to win the game. But I would like to beat Briarwoods and Stonebridge again, honestly.
Is it fun for you to be – a lot of guys don't have that opportunity where you have 3 high-level high school football programs in one area. A lot of times it's one kind of king of the hill. But I think right now, obviously, after you guys last year knocking off Stonebridge, being Briarwoods class, it's really 3 really good teams that must have some just barn-burner games against each other.
Yeah, if we all had one school and we all went to that school, I think it would be unbeatable, to be honest. We have a lot of athletes coming out of here. I'd say we all play against each other when we were little. In AYFL, that was the league that we all played in, all Briar kids, some Tuscarora kids, Stonebridge kids, and a couple other kids that want to play against us. And I thought that was a really good league, and then that just set us up for greatness when we were growing up into high school.
Now you're looking to move on to college football. What are some of the schools maybe looking at you in places you'd like to go?
Well, I have good grades. I have a good GPA. I need to work on my SATs. So I'm looking at like Princeton, University of Pennsylvania, some of the Ivy League schools and the Patriot League schools like Georgetown, Lafayette, and then a couple of D3 schools like caliber like Amherst or University of Chicago.
Some very good schools there. One last question for you. I was looking a little bit in your bio, and your dad played at the Naval Academy football. Your brother played at Virginia Tech in soccer. Does that kind of, having those people to shoot for in your family, does that kind of give you a little bit of extra boost to kind of go out and do some good things on the football field?
Well, I got to say that my brothers and my dad made me who I am today because they've been beating me up since I was a little kid. I'm the baby in the family. I got 2 older brothers. And I've been fighting for my life ever since I was a kid. They are always bullying me, and it's not really bullying, but it's just friendly. And we're a family, but they've shaped me to who I am today, I would say.
Well, congratulations, Brady. Great game today, and go get them the rest of the season.
All right, thank you.
That was Broad Run quarterback Brady Reitzel today after his team's big win over Booker T. Washington of Richmond. The Broad Run Spartans, again, looking to do some big things, as Reitzel referred to during the interview I had with him right after the game. Just a really little magician there. He's only about 5'10", 5'11", but got out of some big situations where he was kind of hemmed in running the read option, but a guy that can make guys miss, and that's always going to be important, especially as more teams spread you out now in going down to high school. We saw it in college. We've seen it in the pros. It's definitely here in high school, guys trying to go ahead and get their good athletes out in space, and definitely Broad Run looking to do that as they move throughout the season. Now, of course, Broad Run in Loudoun County. An interesting story out of Loudoun County tonight, as Loudoun Valley High School of Purcellville has fired their football coach, Danny McGrath, just a week before the season starts. The Vikings believe we're to go ahead and start against James Wood next week, but McGrath won't be leading them. And really an interesting story. They said he was let go today, just handed his walking papers, and really not too much more. McGrath wouldn't comment on the advice of his attorney. The Loudoun County Public Schools did confirm that McGrath had been dismissed as a coach, but not as a physical education teacher, and that state privacy laws prohibit him from discussing the reason why. Loudoun Valley parents are not really happy about this because McGrath took the Vikings to the state semifinals last year, had a really good year. In a Washington Post article they have on it really talking about the fact some of the Booster Club folks saying that they think McGrath was fired because he spoke up for the athletes and their safety. McGrath had talked about the fact that Loudoun Valley, one of the smaller schools in Loudoun County, was having to play some of the bigger schools, didn't really like that. And part of that becomes a travel issue where you can't, a lot of the smaller schools at Valley's level are down in the Shenandoah Valley, that area. So obviously school system's going to try and save some money. Loudoun County, I believe, at 13 schools now. So it's not like you're going to go ahead and be able to justify going ahead and busing a team really back and forth when you had teams of approximate level. I know Loudoun Valley last year, they played Woodgrove, the other school in that in Western Loudoun, played them pretty tough, beat Loudoun County, another team who's plays at the 4A level, who I believe played both Tuscarora and Broad Run last year, and Briar Woods. Maybe not Broad Run, but no, Briar Woods and Tuscarora are two really good teams on county schedules, so they kind of got by with it. Also part of the story that Loudoun Valley, some of the parents had brought sensors from a neuroscience research company given to them for free. The Loudoun County School Board, the folks, they didn't want to go ahead and do it because it might impact safety certification, didn't know if they were sufficiently tested to kind of decline the offer. That became a little bit of a hiccup, but they said he was fired today. McGrath, only 31 years old. He was been the coach since 2008. Played for Frank Beamer in the mid 2000s. I think was really young when he got the job up at Loudoun Valley, and kind of had some brushback early, but it kind of got things around to his side. But kind of a sad story, and Loudoun Valley having some issues. They brought in the longtime principal Bill Oblas from Loudoun County High School in Leesburg, Virginia, as an assistant after he'd retired. The public explanation was he was going to be a part of, was really going to run the school when their current principal was away from the school. Susan Ross, her name, she's been embroiled in a bit of a controversy where some folks have accused her of bullying. We came to making sure teachers gave good grades. So it's been a bit of a mess up there. It looks like Danny McGrath has kind of got caught in that. McGrath played at Herndon. Obviously that job, I believe, filled this year, but he's got some roots in Fairfax County, and obviously, we saw this year some turnover in Fairfax County. So it'll be interesting if we don't see him go ahead and land on his feet, because really, really good coach out there. Danny McGrath has done some good things at Loudoun Valley, and it should be interesting to see what he does. Again, they go ahead and open their season next week with an interim coach. Haven't seen who that interim coach is going to be. Sure, it'll be the best. I believe there may be some experienced coaches on that staff, so we'll see what they're able to do when it comes to going ahead and finding themselves a coach for the season, as we'll see what Loudoun Valley can do. They lost some guys, but we're really looking to maybe build on what they've done last year, getting it all the way to the state semifinals. Joined now by Robinson head coach Scott Vossler. His Rams got off to a great start last night, knocking off Lee 31-6 for their first victory of the year. Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Looking at the numbers from last night, Marcus Denham had a big night, had three touchdowns, over 200 yards rushing. What were you guys able to do to kind of get him going last night?
They stacked a lot of guys in the box against us, so we knew if we could block one, we could knock one down with our blocking, that we'd have a chance for a big play, because there wasn't really anybody at the second level. Marcus is one of our few guys that we have back that's got playing experience, so we kind of knew the first game he's the guy we wanted to start off with and get him the ball and get him going, and then our other young, lesser experienced guys would kind of feed off of him, and it worked out.
And obviously, coming into that game, you guys at Robinson, there's a bit of a tradition there. And you went to the playoffs last year. But has it been okay, kind of going from this year, and with you coming in as the new coach, obviously being there, but that transition, have you gotten kind of what you expected starting off from the team?
Yeah, I think our kids have always taken football seriously and with a lot of pride in the school and the tradition that's been here. They also, our kids are willing to work very, very hard. So we don't have to, really beat them down with that. They give us what we ask. And a lot of that deals with, they watched Robinson be successful for a long time when they were growing up. So they want to continue that tradition.
Yeah, want to talk a little bit about the defense last night. Only allowing 6 points no matter who you're playing against is pretty impressive. Who are a couple guys that stood out there to make sure you guys were able to hold lead down on the offensive end?
Yeah, we switched some personnel around after our second scrimmage last week, and so we really didn't change who was on the field, but we moved guys' positions. And so we had some big question marks going in there, how they would perform, and we were very happy. We thought they really followed and did their jobs. Dejon Lee moved into middle linebacker, did a great job for us. And then our secondary, we start 4 seniors, all returning players. And, when you can play man against people that are spreading you out, it really alleviates a lot of your issues as far as stopping the run, because you got that many more people in the box. Yeah. So, our secondary really did their job and didn't give up any big plays through the air, and that allowed us to kind of outnumber them inside.
So obviously you did, as you only, again, won the game 31-6. Talking to Scott Vossler, the head coach of the Robinson Rams, and Coach was looking at your bio, and you're a young guy. You only were in school in 2008, a very good player, I believe, at Dayton, and then moving on eventually to Robinson in 2011. I guess the one thing to ask, and maybe it's a moot point now because you've been around the kids for so long now, you're just another coach, I guess, to them, but was there ever a hurdle of getting over saying, hey, this guy's kind of a young coach, should we really go ahead and follow what he's saying to us?
I think the fact that I've been at Robinson for the last couple of years, really, the kids know who I am. They know what I'm about. So selling it to the kids isn't as difficult as selling it to other adults.
Yeah.
I think, and with parents and administration and people like that, age isn't a factor, but it is. When you're the age of some of their children, it's hard for them to sometimes see you in that light. But we've got a great administration here, a great community, and I've been around long enough that I think people knew that I was capable of doing the job.
And this is your first head coaching job, correct?
Yes.
Now, what is it like to jump in as a first-time head coach into the old Concord District Conference 5, as they call it nowadays, where you have so many powerhouse programs? People call it the SEC of Virginia high school football. What is it like kind of jumping into such a competitive district as a first-time head coach?
Thankfully we haven't gotten to those teams yet, because they're all very good, very well coached. We try to plan ahead, make sure we've got a system for whatever we're going to do, that we can repeat it and refine it as we go through. I think one of the things you have to do as a first-time head coach in your first year is accept that there's going to be times when maybe you didn't do things as perfectly as you originally planned. I always tell our kids, it's not wrong to make mistakes. It's wrong to keep repeating them. So as long as we can figure out where we've kind of gone off and fix it, we'll be that much better off the next time.
Yeah, and obviously last night had a pretty good night, winning 31-6 over Lee. I guess, Coach, we can wrap this one up. We're talking a little bit about your outlook for the season. We did already, but obviously when it comes to you get off to a good start, but a lot of tough games. How do you see your team kind of faring, and what are some things that you're going to have to do to have another successful season at Robinson?
The Concord's always tough, and obviously, with Centerville having everybody back, and Westfield always being tough, and then Oakton and Chantilly and Herndon aren't slouches either, and then we get the pleasure of adding Blake Braddock to our schedule every year as well. So we always have our hands full. We turned the ball over 3 times last night and put it on the ground 5 times, and that'll get us beat by all those teams I just mentioned. So we're going to have to clean that up and just continue to get better at what we do. High school football, a lot of times it boils down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. So we've got to take care of ourselves, get better and more efficient at what we do, and that'll give us a chance to be successful against some of those historically great programs that we'll see in the second half of our schedule.
And one final, Coach, one for you. I have to ask. Jack Rowlett, your quarterback, obviously he's a big-time standout on the lacrosse field. I called a few of his games before. Is there kind of a steadying influence with a guy like that being on your team that, football, good player, but being such a big-time player in lacrosse that really he's a guy that kind of the kids look to or as a steadying influence?
Yeah, Jack is a big-time competitor, and I think, that comes across in lacrosse. It also comes across in football. If we had to, if our kicker got injured and I need somebody to kick the ball off right before the game, and I'd probably tell Jack to do it, and Jack would believe that he was going to put it through the back of the end zone. He just has complete faith in himself and doesn't worry necessarily about making mistakes. He just goes out there and does whatever he can. He is a very calming influence on everybody. He can get in the huddle and straighten guys out and kind of be the overseer of everything, which is, invaluable to have as a coach. He's going to be missed in the future. We're lucky to have him this year.
And obviously getting you guys off to a good start last night, 31-6 over Lee Robinson with the win to start off the coaching tenure of Scott Vossler, their new head coach. Scott, congratulations and have a great season.
Thank you very much.
Coach Vossler's troops getting the win last night, again knocking off Lee in their season opener. A lot of teams open their seasons tonight. We'll go ahead and run down the scores again right after this. You're listening to The Final Drive here on DMVSTREAM.COM.
DMVSTREAM.COM. We'll stream your verbal commitment live to our audience, viewable on computers, televisions, and mobile devices. Stream your college commitment live to the world. Let us know when and where you'll make the biggest choice of your athletic career, and we'll dispatch a producer. We'll handle all the technical, putting you in front and center under the brightest lights on your biggest day. You can blast your biggest moments to all your friends and family, as well as Facebook and Twitter followers. They can watch you make this choice live. Interested in having us stream your commitment? Fill out the form below and let us know how we can get involved. Remember, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit us on the web at DMVSTREAM.COM. At DMVSTREAM.
And welcome back into the final drive. Time to run down the scores again from the day. Again, the Maryland teams didn't play today. Mostly your Virginia squads. Most of them played, though the northern region, most of those schools did not. Some of those hanging back for next week. A lot of private schools played as well. DC schools, let's run them down right now. St. Mary's Riken over Severn, 35-0. It was Landon over Annapolis Area Christian, 43-7. Fork Union knocked off Georgetown Prep knocked off Fork Union in their matchup, 27-26. It was Avalon over Potomac School, 33-0. Archbishop Wood of Pennsylvania, they beat number 4 DeMatha 34-13. It was Good Counsel over Wilson 49-13. O'Connell beat Paul VI 56-14. Bishop Ireton, they knock off Parkview 46-12. Second-ranked Gonzaga getting ready for their matchup against Centerville next week. They beat Neshaminy of Pennsylvania 42-3. It was number 8 St. John's over IMG Academy of Florida 35-2. It was Phelps over Kipp 33-0. Morgantown of West Virginia, they beat Anacostia 41-0. Coolidge beat Paul PCS. The Colts winning that one 38-6. Glen Oak of Ohio over Roosevelt 55-8. Martinsburg of West Virginia, they beat H.D. Woodson 24-7. Ballou over Perry Street Prep 41-0. Broad Run, they beat Booker T. Washington of Richmond 53-9. Briar Woods, ranked in the top 10, they beat Brook Point 38-13. Potomac Falls edges Dominion 10-6. Pilati over John Carroll 3-0. Tuscarora beat Kettle Run 40-7. Quantico over Massanutten 20-12. Oakton over W.T. Woodson NOT 25-22. Lake Braddock knocked off West Potomac 30-6. South County, they beat West Springfield 42-13. Woodgrove, they knock off Freedom of South Riding 62-0. Loudoun County over Fauquier 33-0. It was Freedom of Prince William over Osborne Park 31-0. It was Madison over South Lakes 33-22. Heritage beats James Wood 24-12. Liberty knocked off Hanley 35-0. Champ of South Riding 35-10 winners over Central Woodstock and Brentsville. They snapped their winless streak dating all the way back to 2010 as they beat Manassas Park by a score of 12-7. Of course, there were games last night as well. Robinson over Lee 31-6. Edison beat Mount Vernon 26-6. It was number 10 Patriot over Forest Park 55-49 in overtime, a barn burner there. Also, it was Hilton beating Osborne 50-0. Stonewall Jackson, they topped Potomac 17-7, and it was Battlefield over Woodbridge 49-19. Joined now by Battlefield High School head coach Mark Cox, his squad with a kind of convincing 49-19 win over Woodbridge last night. Coach Cox, first off, congratulations on the big win to start your season.
Thank you very much. It's always to get that first one underneath your belt.
And obviously in that game, Matt Gallagher had a big night. Your quarterback threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for 2 more. What was he able to do to be so successful last night?
Well, Matt is showing a lot of poise his second year starting at quarterback, making good decisions. And we this year have some big boys up front that can protect him and give him plenty of time. He looked real comfortable back there. And, that's what you want in your quarterback is somebody that's not panicking. They're nice and comfortable and making good decisions, and he played a great game for us.
Yeah, it looked like by the stats had over 200 yards and really kind of did it on limited passing opportunities, correct? Wasn't throwing a lot, but got a lot out of the passes he did throw.
Well, that's kind of the way our offense works. We like to run the ball, and we're not gonna come out and air it up unless we have to. We like to control the ball, manage the clock, and usually, if the line's doing well, the quarterback's going to have a good night also.
Now, you mentioned your big hogs up front, and it looked like in a couple of the game stories I read that you really gave a lot of credit to your guys being in good shape because they have to play both ways. Tell us a bit about that and how surprised you were maybe that your guys were ready to go the entire game.
Well, we do rotate our entire offensive line through the defensive line. Even the tight end plays at linebacker. So, it was a big test for them to go both ways all night long, and we're fortunate that we can rotate some kids. On defense, only 3 of them will be going at a time, so 2 of them get to take, a couple plays off. But I was really concerned about we were lucky that the temperature dropped and they cooled off, because if it had been a hot night, it could have been a whole different story. But I was very pleased with the way that they were able to maintain their conditioning and their intensity throughout the entire game.
Now, speaking of intensity, your defense also had kind of a tough task on their hands as they were going up against the Vikings quarterback, Mike Neubesier, who was committed to the University of Maryland. Kind of held him in check. He did throw for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns, but obviously only 19 points. Are you happy with your defense's performance last night?
Well, Woodbridge has a lot of athletes, and the Neubesier kid, he can beat you at any time and from anywhere on the field. He played quarterback. He's out in the receiver. He played in the secondary. We just had to know where he was all the time. And he had some good plays on us. And our big thing was just try to not give up too many big strikes and too many points in a hurry. And keep us in the game and hope our offense can control the ball, which they did. So we were very fortunate, but he's a heck of an athlete. And they got other athletes on the team, too, that can just turn around and score quickly. Well, we got a comfortable lead. At no point in the game was it ever a comfortable lead per se, because they can strike at any moment.
Yeah, but obviously you guys go ahead and get the win, and big way to start things off. Now, Coach, you've been with the Battlefield program since it began, obviously leading the team to a state championship a few years back. Has there been kind of a difference in maybe attitude or anything since that state championship? Has there been more confidence? Has there been a little more of guys maybe feeling like they belong there? Is there any difference in that, or is it kind of just the same you've seen over the years at Battlefield?
Well, back to the state team, we just had a great group of kids that worked hard together, and they grew up together, Little League, starting ninth grade together, and by the time they were seniors, they were just one big family that they had each other's backs, and they worked hard, and they enjoyed the game together. We kind of fell away from that a little bit. Kids, that state championship team, those kids started going off to college. We lost a little bit of the drive, I would say, to get back to that level. And we feel now as coaches and players that we've gotten back to the way that was then, that the kids enjoy the game, they have fun coming to practice with each other, just a bunch of hardworking kids. And we got those types of kids that we love going out and coaching every day. And win or lose, it's the kind of group of kids that you're going to enjoy it in any way. And we think we have a really great group of kids, and we're getting back to the way we were that year that we won state championship.
Now, looking at the folks in your conference, some pretty good teams there when it comes to Stonewall Jackson, also Patriot. How do you think your team stacks up in your area and moving forward throughout the playoffs, the playoff push?
Well, you mentioned the playoffs. That is our goal every year. We don't necessarily look to win a district. We just want to take it one game at a time and be at our best once we get to the playoffs. But you're right. You got Hilton's, Patriot, Stonewall. It's a very tough district or county that we play in. Each week is a game that's got the other team's got a ton of athletes, and everybody's slinging the ball all over the place. So it's going to be a lot of scoring. It's going to be tough defensively, but there's a lot of good teams, and it's going to be hard each week for us. And we just hope that we can keep getting better each week.
Now, Coach, I'll end you on this one. Obviously, you've got a little bit of perspective since you've been at the school for a while. You've been at other schools in the area. Your thoughts on the change in the Virginia high school leagues classifications and format last year where they went to the sixth division classification. How is that worked out for your team, and how do you kind of see that going forward, maybe kind of moving away from that district setup to more of the kind of randomly keeping some rivalries while also staying in your maybe a closer population groups when it comes to trying to advance in the playoffs?
Well, I certainly understand why they did it, but it has its minuses as well. Used to in the past, we loved taking road trips and playing Division VI schools outside the area. We would travel to GW Danville. We would go down to Lake Taylor. We no longer do that. But we're fortunate that all our games are scheduled here within the county, so we don't have to travel anywhere. All our games are within 20, 30 minutes, and it's nice that we got the in-county rivalries amongst the teams now. And another good thing about the way they changed it was our playoff games are now mostly against Northern Virginia schools, Fairfax County, which we haven't been able to play them. Coming from Fairfax County, I always want to get back and play some of those schools. Well, now we get the opportunity when we get in the playoffs, and we just have to travel right down the road. The east side of the county, they have to go to Richmond or the beach. We're fortunate that we're not on that side of the county. We can just go to Fairfax County. But one thing that the kids have looked forward to every year, and which was a goal of the team and a goal of the coaches, was to be practicing on Thanksgiving, which used to be a regional championship. Mm-hmm. A lot of the kids and a lot of the teams, a lot of the schools in the area always took a lot of pride in being regional champion, and now there's no longer any more regional champions. We always want to be the best in the area, the best in the county, but that's not necessarily something that happens now because you can't be a regional champion. And we took a lot of pride in being regional champions, and that's one thing that we miss.
Gotcha. Well, obviously, you guys are at least a team that can be competing for those championships you move through, even if the regional one isn't there. Always a state title contender when it comes to Battlefield High School. Their head coach, Mark Cox, congratulations on last night's win, and good luck throughout the rest of the campaign.
Well, thank you very much.
Again, Mark Cox of Battlefield with their season opening win yesterday, getting things going. We talked about how the Maryland schools, the public schools, they start next week. The cream of the crop, at least when you're coming off last year's stats, it would be Northwest, the Jaguars, the 4A state champions. Also had a chance to catch up with Mike Neubesier and talk about his team and what they're going to do in this campaign, the 2014, looking to go ahead and get the repeat and go back and win back-to-back state titles. Coach, obviously the season doesn't start until next week for you guys. Virginia, some of the private schools get going. So I know you've already got them looking ahead to this year, but can we take it back just a little bit to last year since you're still the defending champs and ask you, what was it like to go ahead and raise that trophy in Baltimore as the 4A champions?
It was a magical run. We hit on all cylinders at the end of the season, and we were able to, make it through the season with very few injuries. Which is a big key, and just everything kind of clicked there at the end for us, and we were able to surprise a lot of people and take home the title.
Now, I think obviously that has to be the starting point of this year, and the question of, does it help, harm, or neither way your team, the fact that it wasn't a 13-0, 14-0 team, it was a team that kind of came on later? Does that help the kids maybe get over that hangover quickly by saying, hey, it kind of came like that in the blink of an eye, it could go away that quickly if we're not as prepared as we should be to start the season?
Yeah, I think that does help as far as them understanding that we're not invincible. That's for sure. I mean, we don't have any players on our team right now that have scholarship offers or anything like that. So, I mean, our guys understand that in order for us to be successful, everybody has to do their job and they have to do it really well. So, I think our kids have worked really hard this offseason and they're focused, definitely focused.
Now, a lot of folks gave your quarterback, Mark Pierce, a lot of credit, kind of his play later in the season, helping you guys come on and be victorious. What are some of the intangibles and good things he brings to your Jaguars team?
He's a very, very intelligent football player. His dad's a coach, and he's been around the game his whole life. But he's mature beyond his years, and he's a really detail-oriented person. He's all A's and B's on his report card, and real neat kid as far as, you go to his room, everything's put away in a certain spot, according to his dad. And his locker's very neat. And so he's a very detail-oriented guy, and he tries to take care of all the little things, which adds up to a pretty successful quarterback.
Now, you've really had to switch over the receivers this year. A lot of those guys gone to help get you to the state championship last year and win it. Who are some of the guys this year that are going to have to step up and maybe a big part of the passing attack to keep you guys successful?
Brandon Williams, Aaron Beitelman will be two outside receivers for us that we're looking for big things from. Troy Lessage, we expect him to do good things as well. And then we have some other young guys that hopefully will step up. They've done a great job in passing league. We were able to go 30-0 this spring and summer, and so they've stepped up in that capacity. Now we need to do it with pads on. If they can do that, we hopefully we'll make another run.
Now, with the success of the passing game, do you guys feel you're going to be a predominantly passing team, or is it going to be another 50-50? What do you see your offense kind of going for wise when it comes to the run-pass ratio?
Our offensive coordinator, Justin Sicari, does a really good job of just taking what defenses give us. So it really depends on what we feel that we would have the best opportunity to take advantage of. Our offensive line has returned 4 out of 5 starters, and those guys are all bigger and stronger. And actually, it looks to be the strength of our team this year. And our running back, E.J. Lee, is as good as you'll find in high school. He's undersized, but he's got a huge heart, and he's a very fast and quick kid. So our running game could be the strength of our team if we need it to be. I think we'll mix it up and be more of a 50-50 team overall.
Now, I can't let you go without talking about the defense. All teams obviously have to have a good defense, either by a shutdown D or a team that creates turnovers. I guess, what are some of the keys to your defense being a state championship level defense this year?
We return a lot of starters on defense as well. Our linebacker play should be pretty strong. We lost a couple good ones, but we have some good ones coming back. Brendan Thompson is the anchor of that in the middle. He's going to be a senior, and Chuck Anya on the outside is really good. Brandon Williams, who I talked about on offense, is also an outside linebacker. Those guys, I think from the linebacking core should do, hold it down run-wise. And then in the secondary, Martin Ferre at cornerback is a tremendous corner. He's he'll be probably a scholarship athlete before it's all said and done. And then the safeties are excellent as well with Jamar Wilson and Troy Leffage.
Do you have a good feel on if your team, obviously the Post had you in the top 5 this year, and some coaches they go for the rankings and they really are all about them. Some just say, hey, it's just a number. Do you feel like teams, you're kind of where people think you should be? Do you think maybe that's a little bit overrating, that you guys can get there in time? Do you think you have that type of team again that can make that type of big run and come home with another state championship?
I think, we have a team that can make a run like that. I was surprised we were that high. I didn't know that we would get that much respect, but I appreciate it. But we have a lot of work to do to get to that level. I don't think at this point we're playing at that high of a level. We really need we've got to buckle down and work and get a lot of things ironed out. We have the pieces, just we need everyone to step up and get, work together as we did last year.
And Coach, to be remiss if I didn't get you a quick on your opener to start the season, and maybe talk a little bit about the early games on your schedule.
We start with Magruder. They're going to be a much improved team. They have a new coaching staff, and we watched them scrimmage the other day. They look pretty tough. They've gotten a lot better, and they run a veer offense, which is always tough. It forces you to be disciplined offensively, and their defense was doing a good job of flying to the football. So they're going to be a tough week 1 opponent. We're going to have everything lined up and play a good game to be able to, beat those guys. And Richard Montgomery the week after that, led by Coach Klotz, he does a tremendous job with those guys. They get better every year. I think this is his 3rd year. They've been better every year, so they're going to be tough. And then after that, we play our biggest rival, Seneca Valley. So we play for a King's Trophy, and that's a huge game every single year. So that's difficult way to start the season, really.
But you'd have to think, I would assume, that at least you got the kids' attention going in, as opposed to maybe some cupcakes where they're thinking, we're the state champions, not a big deal, we're going to roll over these guys, correct?
Right. We were the state champions last year. This year we're 0-0. We haven't won any games, so we're no better than our opponents. We need to beat those guys and just do a good job of executing and whatnot. To be honest, we really don't talk about state championships or anything like that. We just try to focus on the little things and let those things take care of themselves.
Well, Coach Neubesier did such a good job at it last year. I know you'll have the guys ready to go and make another run in 4A this year. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you very much.
Northwest Jaguars head coach Mike Neubesier talking to us here on the final drive on DMV Stream. We're going to go ahead and take one last quick break, actually giving you some extra show tonight, some overtime, if you will. We're going to run down the games tomorrow and take a quick look at the top 20, the folks who lost real quick, let you know those as well. So it's coming back right after this here on DMVSTREAM.COM.
We'll stream your verbal commitment live to our audience, viewable on computers, televisions, and mobile devices. Stream your college commitment live to the world. Let us know when and where you'll make the biggest choice of your athletic career, and we'll dispatch a producer. We'll handle all the technical, putting you in front and center under the brightest lights on your biggest day. You can blast your biggest moments to all your friends and family, as well as Facebook and Twitter followers. They can watch you make this choice live. Interested in having us stream your commitment? Fill out the form below and let us know how we can get involved. Remember, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit us on the web at DMVSTREAM.COM.
And welcome back to the final drive here on DMVSTREAM.COM. I'm Jeremy Huber. Some notable games tomorrow. McNamara taking on Mount St. Joe's of Baltimore. That's set to be a 1 o'clock start. Eastern and Carroll face off at 2, while it's Dunbar hosting St. Mary's of Annapolis. That one a 4 o'clock start. Friendship Collegiate taking on St. Francis there at 7 o'clock. Also believe that Riverdale Baptist, they're in action. The game escapes me right at this moment, but I'm pretty sure they're in action tomorrow as well. As for your top top 20. All the teams ranked that played tonight won except for two. The first, and maybe the more notable, DeMatha going down to Archbishop Wood 34-13, though Wood ranked top 10 in the nation, I believe. So the fourth-ranked Stags, we'll see how their season progresses on from here. Also dropping a game today, it was H.D. Woodson. They were ranked 20th in the All-Met Sports Top 20, and they fell to Martinsburg, West Virginia, 24-7. That's going to do it for the premiere episode of The Final Drive. I want to thank our guest tonight, the head coach of the Northwest Jaguars in Maryland, Mike Neubesier, head coach of the Battlefield Bobcats, Mark Cox, head coach of the Robinson Rams, Scott Vossler, Broad Run quarterback Brady Reitzel, and also DMV Stream play-by-play voice Brian Wright. Thank you so much for joining the show tonight, guys, and thank you so much for listening here on The Final Drive on DMVSTREAM.com. We'll see you next week.